name's John Wargus. I've been a working photographer for 40 years next year. Started off my career at The Guardian in London and then The Observer. Had 2 years at The Guardian, then 6 years at The Observer. Amazing places to cut your teeth. It has to be said, although I really wouldn't want to push anybody through that kind of career path right now, because it's very different now to what it was in the late 1980s and early 1990s. But you know, there were some great photographers working in that time. I mean, I was incredibly lucky. I'd just graduated. I'd been involved in student journalism for a year in my final year. And some stories broke into the nationals as I was heading towards graduating, and I was picked up by the picture editor at The Guardian, who took a risk on me, and I'm forever grateful to him for that. I then went on to The Observer under Tony McGrath, the taciturn but brilliant picture editor there. And then in '93, I'd had enough, and it was about time for a change. So I have no idea where this idea came from, but I started working for design agencies, and I have worked with design agencies for the rest of my working life. And it's been brilliant. Designers are amazing people. Their craft is communication, so they're incredibly easy people to work with, which has benefited me and the weird way that my brain works. So that was a joy, and I was again very lucky to find myself in that position. When I started looking at the design industry, I was hawking my old black and white portfolio from The Observer, and that was mostly portraits, but I got a little bit pigeonholed with the portraits, and I was asked to do a lot of directors, and I was always jealous of the people who were doing the location work, because the location work to me just seemed so much more interesting. But I had to pay my dues, if you like, and I did that for 4 or 5 years, and then I just took every single portrait out of my portfolio and only gathered up what I had done on location and some personal work and started showing that to people. And I think I probably had a website by then. I mean, we're now talking about the dark ages in terms of what we're able to achieve today. And it worked. I eventually stopped shooting directors and I started traveling. And the first big shoot that I did was for Lehman Brothers. I had a phone call from a very good friend of mine who was working as a designer at a big agency in New York. He'd basically been in touch with one of the big picture libraries and said, we need several images from around the world that show the locations that Lehman Brothers were, because Lehman Brothers headquarters in New York on Broadway had this huge digital screen that wrapped around their building. What they wanted was iconic shots of the locations that their offices were in. And they came up with this like astronomical figure. And I had a phone call from this friend of mine who said, John, how many countries can you cover and how many images can you generate for $65,000? And I thought, I'll get back to you. And I came back and I think I covered 6 or 7 more countries than they were hoping to. And I spent a few weeks just traveling the world shooting for them. So that was the beginning of the traveling, and I think I got a bit of a reputation for being able to travel. And the way this was always split up was I would spend a couple of days shooting in a factory or a warehouse or an office, a lot of office-like work, and it was all strictly reportage. It was all available light, because what they wanted basically was a bank of images that they could call on for pretty much any kind of below-the-line communication. So investor relations, business to business, recruitment, those kinds of things. So I was shooting these things and delivering them, and it was huge fun. Yeah, and I was pretty much nearly always working alone. I had an art director on a big shoot that I did for Jaguar Land Rover, but it was rare. it was rare. So, and because we had some broadband emerging at that time, so I was able to shunt down the line some low-res JPEGs. They would view them overnight, and I would get some feedback from the agency in the morning. And off I'd go. So I'd do a couple of days in the office or the factory or whatever, and then I'd spend usually 2 or sometimes 3 days, depending on how big the place was I was visiting, just shooting what I called the culture, what I now know to be street photography. It's just, can you imagine this? Like, this was just, I was being paid to wander the streets and shoot the life of that particular city or that particular place. But these jobs just kept coming and coming and coming, and I was going to just these amazing cities. You know, Moscow is just a brilliant, I wouldn't like to go there now, but Moscow's great. Hong Kong, repeated visits there. Tokyo, repeated visits. You know, the big cities in America, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, those just amazing opportunities to sort of see the world. I've learned so much, and there are so many things that I want to share with you, because it's now a point in my career where I'm thinking I need to gather up all this experience and shunt it back. So if you've got any questions, you know, anything that springs to mind, if there's just one of you listening that might gain something from this, might benefit in some way, then that's my job. That's all I'm expecting to do. So the idea will be to go out and shoot stuff and make a recording of that event while it's happening, and talk to you about what goes on in my head while I'm shooting these pictures, because I think it's something that you can really focus on and help if you understand your process, rather than it just being an aberrant set of behaviors that don't seem to have any logic. You can avoid so much. You can avoid so much wasted time and wasted frames. And this is something Stephen Shaw said, that before he went into teaching, he'd never really talked about his work. He'd never really talked about his process, and it wasn't really clear in his mind. But he said, and this is really interesting, and I think this is really important, that when he started teaching, it meant that he had to think about what he was doing, and that helped him to crystallize his ideas on his process. And that allowed him then to focus very tightly on what he wanted to achieve, rather than bouncing from one side to another, trying to get to something that he liked, which was a lot of the time by chance for me, not him, I'm sure, or less for him. So that's the kind of thing that I'm hoping that I can get over to you, and I hope that you enjoy it, because it's my opinion. I'm not saying it's right, and there'll be a lot of people out there that go, yeah, that's not a proper way to work, and that's fine. But all I'm doing is I'm saying, this is what I do, this is how I do it, this is why I do it, this is why it works for me, how it makes me happy, now that, that I'm not working so much. And it would just take whatever you can from it, or disregard it. It's entirely up to you, no problems. You don't have to subscribe. You don't even have to like. It's just putting this stuff out there for the hell of it. So there we go. That's it. I hope it's of some benefit.